Hey everyone, welcome back to Mobile Suit Highlights. I apologize for the week-long delay. I'm no longer affiliated with GundamVs.com. I have relocated my weekly polls to the newly formed Costover forums. Please check it out. Without further ado, this week we're covering Wing Gundam Zero Custom, piloted by Hiro Yui from Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. The Wing Zero Custom is a 3000 cost suit. It's considered one of the weakest 3000 suits in the game, but that does not mean it's completely helpless. It's actually a very solid suit. It's just, it requires a different mindset to play. Your primary method of attack with this unit is its main A-shot, the Buster Rifle. Upon impact, it will do multiple hits as long as the beam stays on the enemy. If you boost dash cancel out of it, you reduce the damage a shot does because you lose the remaining hits on that beam shot. A unique feature of its A-shot though is it can be fired when in motion without any loss in speed or momentum, so you can keep a single beam on an enemy as you're moving. The Charge Shot A is its rolling buster rifle, which can hit the enemy a maximum of 2 times. Be aware that the Wing Zero Custom only gets super armor on the frames in which its wings are covering its body. If you get shot anytime other than that during the animation, the entire attack will be interrupted. AB activates its machine cannon. Holding AB down will fire more bullets, and the unit must come to a complete stop in order to fire them. They're without a doubt, absolutely useless. Wing Zero Custom's AC, the Twin Buster Rifle, is a very useful tool in long-range assaults when the enemy is focused on your partner. My suggestion is to use this attack from an angle from the air so it hits the surface by the enemy even if it misses, because it causes an area of effect explosion on contact. The different directions of flight on the unit's BC input may seem like they serve no purpose at first, but it's actually one of the main reasons that gives it an edge over the other units. It can be used even if you don't have any boost left to spare, and can be used while moving, so you can still be on the move when your boosts have overheated. Melee isn't really a strong area for the Wing Zero Custom. It does have some damaging combos to fend it off against aggressive players, but the only reason you should be using melee at all with it is just to give yourself some space between you and your opponents. Its EX burst attack, the Twin Buster Rifle Triple Shot, is what I consider one of the few useful EX attacks in the game because it fires multiple shots with decent accuracy from long range and carries the same properties as its AC, which causes areas of explosion when it comes to contact with any surface. General movement advice for this unit consists of a combination of a constant boost dash jumping along with its BC flight to relaunch yourself in the air if the opponent tries to punish your landing. Remember to avoid boost dash cancelling your Buster Rifle shots in order to maximize the damage on each of your attacks. And since I didn't make it clear earlier, do not use your AB machine cannon attack because it's such a waste of an attack slot on this unit. The first online match in this episode will give you a good example on why this suit is considered one of the worst 3000 suits in the entire game. I know by now you're probably asking why that's the case when it seems to have a fairly adequate weapon arsenal at its disposal already. To start off this match, I noticed that the God Gundam is on the opposing team, so it's critical to keep in mind to respect its space. After all, the unit costs 3000, so even though you ideally want to die first to avoid getting a severe overcost, you need to remain cautious about the first few seconds of the fight. Here you'll start noticing a few glaring problems already with the offense of this suit. Before you fire an actual shot from its Buster Rifle, there are a few frames in which it actually has to charge up the shot first. Basically, you have to wait for the enemy to make a mistake and stay still for a few milliseconds to actually connect the shot since it doesn't come out immediately. Note that even if you connect a Buster Rifle shot that you boost dash cancelled just to push the enemy away, you cannot follow it up with another shot for a little bit more damage since they just can recover from it in midair anyway. AC can be used as an option to immediately put pressure on an opponent getting up from the ground, but you must time its startup animation properly or you will be punished pretty badly for it. This is an ideal situation in which it'd be an acceptable time to die with a 3000 suit. You're at very low health and the opponents are severely weakened now, but don't just throw yourself onto the enemy. Try to do as much damage as you can before being taken out first. Nothing's really going on at the moment, so enjoy this great combo attack from the opponents. It hurts a lot. Here's an example of when to not use your EX burst attack. It has an extremely long animation, and if the first shot doesn't get them, you're gonna have to pray the enemy is silly enough to run to the other ones. Of course, in the end, all that matters is the victory, even if it is a sloppy one. I know I've listed quite a handful of cons about the Wing Zero custom, but don't let those shortcomings stop you. We'll start exploring some neat aspects about it now. Right here is a great demonstration of its super armor during its Charge Shot A in action. It flat out negated the God Gundam's attacks, but the long recovery time after using the attack makes it a bit risky to use often. Quick note, be aware of your surroundings against the Hyakushiki. If there's a large beam in front of you, do not walk into it. Onto a little bit of the technical aspect of the Buster Rifle beam shot. It has a surprisingly excellent function at dead angles and corners. Since it's a continuous firing beam, it can serve as some sort of temporary trap for a few seconds that the enemy can run into if they're being careless at the corner and you position yourself right above them. Cost overtime. Thankfully they focused my partner after I EX burst out of harm's way, so this lets me plan accordingly from a safe distance without any immediate threats. Because the Hyakushiki has a last resort mode when it runs out of HP for the loss, this allowed me to fire off my EX burst attack at the split second the enemy had their guard down. So far we've only really looked at Wing Zero Custom's strengths against suits that like to stay close to you, but now we'll get a glimpse into how well it can do against suits that excel in mid-range. I'm sure you've noticed why at the start of most battles I block right away. This is because some people like to hit their partners at the beginning of the match to give a slight increase in their EX gauge, and I'm not sure who does it and who doesn't, so I just play it safe just in case, because I need to conserve my HP. On the matter of where you should actually fire your Buster Rifle to keep your beam on the enemy, I always try to go to the side of them immediately after they fire a shot because the mobility and raw movement speed of the unit can support it. Obviously, trading shot to the enemy is a bad idea since it stops your attack and pushes them away. Don't get too cocky trying to punish landings from transformations of mobile suits since unfortunately, your Buster Rifle is too slow to come out for it unless you time it several milliseconds before the actual transformation happens, so you're essentially anticipating a mistake from them before they even do it. In the event that you do run out of ammo for your Buster Rifle, start trying to maneuver in a way that lets you avoid any oncoming attacks while trying to open up opponents for your partner in which they hopefully capitalize on. Another friendly reminder in why attempting to melee with this suit is a bad idea. On the bright side, I died first, so my worries of cost over on my end are gone. Always pay attention to the stage terrain which you're using the suit on. This allows you to see which spots you can benefit from with the use of your AC's area of effect explosion. Let's take a look at how Wing Zero Custom would play as a support role. While it is tricky to become accustomed to its playstyle, it does have the ability to assume most roles a team may need at any given time, with the exception of close quarters combat. One of the things I personally like to do with Wing Zero Custom in order to catch the enemy off guard for its charge shot A is to use its BC flight, because it takes tracking off of you for a good split millisecond or two, which is just enough time to fish out an opening if you follow up with the charge shot A correctly. BC flight is also very handy to have to completely break off any melee chases. As you've probably noticed already, all I'm really doing in this match is diverting the enemy's attention away from the God Gundam, since I know that unit excels at 1 vs 1 at close range. I'm just giving it the openings it needs to rush down and beat down the enemy, while I keep the other one irritated with my puking beams of doom. Don't forget to remind the enemy that they're never safe from a far range with their AC. Activating your EX should be saved for really low boost or overheat status. Plus, having the sped up animation for your Buster Rifle shots will really make it a lot easier to hit the enemy with them. The final online match for this episode will go over a few more miscellaneous aspects of the Wing Zero Custom, as well as bring out why this is a suit you shouldn't immediately give up on despite its low tier ranking. Since we're going up against an opponent with an anti-beam cloak, using your AB machine gun may seem like a good idea at first. You can actually have it removed immediately, plus do some damage to it in one single Buster Rifle shot if all the hits connect. Another helpful purpose for BC Flight is dodging any homing assists, especially the insane tracking on this assist for Crossbow and X1 Kai. Be always on the lookout for openings and mistakes from your opponents, because the Wing Zero Custom heavily relies on punishing them more so than most suits in the game. Overall, the Wing Zero Custom is far from the best suit in the game, but it's not completely a waste of time despite its position in the tier list. Its damage output heavily depends on how well the player manages to not only connect, but also keep its Buster Rifle shots on the enemy. Getting a good grasp of its fantastic mobility options because of its BC flight is absolutely crucial to making this suit effective in battle. Thank you everyone once again for your ongoing support for Mobile Suit Highlights, despite the delay in relocation. The links for its new home, the Costover forums, and my contact information if you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason are in the description. and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys, appreciate it.